G'day County Critics, it's Sogg, and today I'm going to be telling you who I think is the most exciting young player for every single A-League club. A couple of things that we're going to go through is they've got to be under 23 years of age, and pretty much the other criteria is that they're exciting. You know, they've got a good prospect for the future, they do things in games, they look like a good player, and yeah, that's pretty much the criteria. Under 23 and a good player who's exciting for the future. So before we get into it, make sure to leave a like on this video and make sure to subscribe. Only about 30% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so if that's you and you're not subscribed yet, make sure to click that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. And make sure to leave a comment. Who's your favourite young player in the A-League? Alright, let's jump into it, and we're going to go through in alphabetical order. So let's start with Adelaide United, and for them there's so many that could have made this list. I mean, you go through the Toure brothers, Al Hassan and Mohammed, both really great players. Dakuli, Nyongabire, Yangi, Noah Smith, Delanov, heaps of great players. But for me, the most exciting young player for Adelaide United is Louis Dorigo. He's just 19 years old. He's a holding midfielder, and why I think he's so exciting for Adelaide United is he just looks so assured on the ball. He can hold up play, he can pass the ball well. He looks like he's been playing senior football for years, and yet this really is only his second season in the A-League. He was named the A-League Rising Star last season, and he made 21 appearances for Adelaide United last season. They're great numbers for such a young player, and I think that he's just going to continue to develop. You know, he can tackle well, he can get himself into creative areas, he can go up and down, and with some good players around him like Stefan Mork, I think that he's got great potential for the future. I think he's going to be one of Australia's kind of most exciting midfielders over the next kind of 10 years. So I'm really excited about him. I think he's the most exciting player for Adelaide United this season. Now, the next club we're going to move on to is Brisbane Roar. And for them, I've gone with attacking midfielder Rama Akbari. I think that he looks really exciting in attacking situations. He looks really good on the ball. I think he could go past man. I haven't really seen much of his shooting ability, but he's just an exciting young prospect for the Roar to have to chuck on late in games to kind of change things up, and I'm excited to see him get some first team experience, you know, start some games and really go for it this season. He was born in Afghanistan and he's eligible for Afghanistan. He hasn't yet picked his allegiance, whether it's Afghanistan or Australia. I think Australia could have a great attacking midfielder on their hands if they choose to go with him. He came through the Queensland youth. He went on loan to the Victory for a season. I think he's got lots of games under his belt now, and this could be a really good chance for him this season to break into that starting lineup and really make an impact. I think he's an exciting young player. He's just 20 years old, and so he's got plenty of room to develop. Next up is the Central Coast Mariners, and maybe this one is a little bit obvious. He's been getting a lot of media attention, really, is the Sudanese-born Alu Kual. He's 19 years of age, played for Goulburn, and he's just quick. He's a speedy boy. He's a striker. He loves to play with energy. He plays with a smile on his face, and that's exciting. He's always going at the defenders. When he's got the ball at his feet, he looks to attack. You know, he drives forward, and he can nick into some really exciting areas. Like we saw in the first game for this season against the Jets, out of nowhere he just zaps into that space and gets a header. So Alu Kual has got a great couple of seasons ahead of him for Central Coast Mariners. If they can hold on to him and really kind of unlock his speed in games, particularly late on, or for teams that like to attack, Central Coast can hit them on the counter with Alu Kual. because he's just electric up front. So he's definitely their most exciting young player for this season. Next up we go to Macarthur FC, and this is a close one because there's a couple of other players. Moody Najjar is a fantastic kind of signing for them, and I know Fox Sports been talking about him lots. Lockie Rose looks exciting, can cross the ball, can cut in, can play well. But for me, the actual most exciting player for Macarthur this season is Danny Jonro. I think he's just a fantastic player. He's 20... I think he's 20. I've forgotten to write that down. That's bad. Danny Jonro, born in France. He's a centre midfielder, and he can pass the ball. He can kind of hold the ball. He can do the dirty stuff and get in and win some tackles without getting carded. I don't think he minds getting a card. He played for Melbourne City in the NPL and for the first team. He went on loan to Perth Glory in the Netherlands, and now he's back here with Macarthur, and he's at least started the season as a first choice midfielder. And I think that just because he can do everything, he's really exciting. I think his progression over the next couple of years is going to be really interesting to watch, and I think he adds stuff to Macarthur right now, which is what makes him so exciting. Alright, next we move on to Melbourne City, and for me there's maybe two kind of choices. The guy who just missed out really for me is Taras Gamulka. I think gets an honourable mention. I just don't think we've seen quite enough of him. Looked exciting at the end of last season for Adelaide United. Now he's at City. Hopefully he gets some game time. But for me, the most exciting young player for Melbourne City for this season is going to be Connor Metcalf. And he's 21 years of age. And why I've gone with him is I think he just seems to be establishing himself as a regular midfielder for City, who have a fantastic squad, and Connor really fits into that well. I think, you know, he seems to kind of be everywhere on the pitch. He can get up into the box, he can defend, he goes side to side and up and down. He's kind of a bit of a box-to-box midfielder almost. And just 21 years of age, he's going to be exciting to watch. He's a regular for the under-23s for Australia, so hopefully he gets to go over to Tokyo and the Olympics. But I think he's a great centre midfielder for City, and of all their kind of young players, he definitely fits the bill as someone who really adds something to their squad. And next up we've got Melbourne Victory, and again there were a couple kind of honourable mentions. Ben Falami, I don't think we've seen enough of, but could be exciting. Jay Barnett as well, kind of, you can't miss him on the field with that hair. Triple L, Latenzio, looks really good. But for me, the most exciting young player for Melbourne Victory is Birkan Kida. Now, he's just 18 years of age, which is kind of incredible. He made 5 appearances last year. He was actually Melbourne Victory's youngest ever player to make a senior appearance. 16 years and 70 days he came on as a sub in the Asian Champions League, and I think he's a kind of interesting attacking midfielder. He loves to let fly with a shot off the top of the box. He's kind of in and around that area, loves to create, loves to add to attacking moves, and this is the kind of season where he can kind of get himself some game time, particularly with Rojas and Cruz being injured. He creates a new attacking kind of midfielder that can offer to Victory, and they're going to need those attacking players who can pick apart defences to unlock their strikers. I think Birkan Kida is the most exciting for Melbourne Victory. Next up is Newcastle Jets, and I mean, it's a tough season for the Jets. Everybody knows that. And they've got two kind of players who are exciting youngsters. The honourable mention for me goes to Rami Nazarene. He's really exciting. He started the season really well and gets in some great spots. He doesn't get it just because he's on loan from Melbourne City, so really he's a Melbourne City young player. and Jets will lose him after a season, which is kind of disappointing for them. And so I've gone with a name that has kind of been thrown around. It's a bit of a weird one. It's Angus Thurgate, because Angus Thurgate is still only 20 years old, which is kind of nuts to me. I feel like he's been around for ages. He's played for the last couple of seasons for the Jets. He gets fairly regular game time. He's played over 40 times for the Jets in the A-League. And I think that's what makes him exciting. Like, when he's actually on the ball, he does make things happen. I think he is exciting, and he can change the game. He can add things to their attack. And he's still just so young, and that experience is what's exciting, because when he is on the ball, you think about the next couple of years, he's going to be a good attacking midfielder, a good central midfielder, and so that's why he's the most exciting player for me for Newcastle Jets. Alright, next up is Perth Glory. And for me, looking at least at their squad, it's kind of slim pickings. They've got a bit of an older side, and this is the oldest player on my exciting young players list, and it's going to be Nick D'Agostino. He's a striker, he's 22 years old, and he's made over 40 appearances in the A-League, first for Brisbane Roar and now for Perth Glory. And he's an interesting one, because he often gets a bit of stick for maybe being a little bit lazy or not giving everything. But he is an exciting striker. You know, he scored goals in the A-League when he is on form, when he kind of looks like he's in the mood. He can be really dangerous to attacks. He has got a bit of speed, he's got strength to hold off defenders, and he can finish. We saw that for the Australian under-23s. And so he definitely is an exciting option up front. I don't know how much game time he's going to get this season with Bruno Fornaroli and Andy Keogh back in. I don't know if he and Keogh are a level as like second choice, or you know, whether D'Agostino will kind of come out ahead. But I think he is an exciting player for Perth when they need to change things up a little bit. Or if he plays up front with Bruno, he definitely offers something a little bit different. So I think he's an exciting young player. Still 22 years old. 22 years old is not old. He's still got plenty of time to kind of unlock all of his potential, and so I think he still can be an exciting player for Perth Glory this season. Like I said, there wasn't really many to choose from who excite for Perth, who are younger players. Okay, next up we've got Sydney FC, and I think this one will come as no surprise. It's Callum Neuhoff. 19 years of age, centre midfielder. I mean, any chance we can, we're going to play this goal again. Go on, run it. Yeah, Neuhoff, 19. We saw him kind of play in the Asian Champions League in the pre-season of the A-League, and he looked fantastic. He looked really assured on the ball. He can pass it. He's got a similar passing range to Luke Bratton, which is fantastic to have those two guys kind of sitting next to each other. But like we saw in his debut start for Sydney against Wellington, he's got something in his locker. You know, he looks like a regular midfielder. He's slotted straight into that kind of centre midfielder role. He can make tackles. Sometimes he can lose the ball. I think that's what's exciting about him, though, is he's always looking for a big spray. He's always kind of looking for that next pass forwards. And so I think as he kind of develops, as he gets more comfortable playing against A-League teams, I think he's going to be a really exciting midfielder to watch. I don't think it'll take long for him to get snapped up by someone overseas. Next up we've got Wellington Phoenix, and this was maybe a little bit of a tricky one, but I've gone with new signing for them, 20-year-old Mirza Muradovic, and he scored a goal on debut for Wellington against Sydney, the ghost goal. I think that he's a good dribbler. He's good on the ball. He likes to kind of go at defenders, but he's also kind of a small, diminutive kind of player. He can play as a striker up top or kind of play on the wings. And yeah, I think he can pop up into some really exciting positions for Wellington. I think he's a nice kind of option for them to have this season. They've got good strikers in Ball and Hamed, and you know, they've got good midfielders, and so just someone who's quick and nimble, who can get in around that box and create things, and maybe pop away some goals as well. I think that's really exciting for the Wellington Phoenix. 20 years old, he's come from Oberon, and he played for Queensland last season and scored some goals, which is really good. And so I think he's an exciting kind of young attacking player for the Phoenix this season. Western Sydney Wanderers are next, and interestingly, I kind of had two players in mind for this, and they're both defenders. The player who just kind of gets an honourable mention is Thomas Aquilina, who made his starting debut just recently, who looks like a great kind of wing back and can definitely pass the ball and get forward. I just don't think we've seen quite enough of him to know just how exciting he is, and so I've gone for a completely kind of different route to the rest of this list, is a centred back in Tas Mortakutis. I think that Tas, just 21 years of age, looks like he's been a centre back for quite a few years. He doesn't make many mistakes, he's tall, he's got a good head on him, he can pass, he can pop up at corners and create danger from set pieces, and he's done that. He's scored a couple of goals already, and I think that he's a really exciting kind of defender to watch his progression over the next couple of years as he breaks down teams and then restarts attacks with long balls. Yeah, I think he's an exciting player for Western Sydney Wanderers, and they've definitely got a young little gem there that they can turn into a really scary kind of centre back. Yeah, he definitely kind of imposes himself over attackers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes this season. And last up, we've got Western United, and again, this was maybe a tricky one, but I've gone with 20-year-old right wing back Dylan Piraeus, and I think he's an exciting player for Western United because of his speed. He's a speedy boy, and from that right wing, he loves to bomb on, he loves to get himself into crossing areas. I think that's the way that Western United like to play, with those three at the back and then the wing backs. When they're dominating a game and they can push those guys on, Piraeus looks like a fantastic option. He kind of is good on the ball, he can dribble, he can cross, he can make things happen, and when you've got other players at Western United who love good service, I think as he progresses, he's going to be a really good player for them. He played a fair bit last season, and I think he'll play again this season because he just suits that role for them. And yeah, so I think he's a really exciting young player for them. 20 years old, so yeah, he's definitely got room to grow. And the more game time he gets, particularly in a season like this, I think the better he's going to get. And so that's really exciting. So that is my list of the most exciting young players for every A-League club. Let me know what you think. Do you think I've missed somebody? Or do you think I've just completely got it wrong? Let us know down in the comments. Like I said, if you've made it this far, leave a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're getting close to 200 subscribers, which is just unreal. So thanks so much for that. And hopefully there'll be some more videos of Brad and I back in the same room fairly soon. But we hope you're enjoying these singles as well. Anyway, we'll be back for another video in not too long at all. Keep enjoying the A-League, and we'll catch you later. Bye. And Triple L Laurie, yeah, Laurie Atanzio. What's his other L? That's really bad. Yeah.